Dreamworks officially announced that Shrek 5 will be released on the 1st of July 2026, with Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz all confirmed to be returning as Shrek, Donkey, and Fiona. So what could the movie be about? Years ago, when Shrek 5 was announced to be in development, it was spoken about as a reboot, meaning the same characters, but different universe, similar to the Batman and Spider-Man movies. However, this latest official announcement by Dreamworks has stated that it's Shrek 5, making it seem like it's going to be a continuation of the stories already told. Personally, I like this idea a lot more.
Me too!
The Shrek movies have always had a vast amount of fairy tale creatures in them, like Gingy, Pinocchio, and Wolfie, to name a few. But the thing about the fairy tale creatures in the Shrek franchise is that they don't always align with what's written in the original stories. For example, Wolfie isn't a bad guy, but Prince Charming is a bad guy. The same with Arthur Pendragon, or Artie, who is always portrayed as this big heroic character in other works of fiction. So I would imagine the same type of thinking is going to be done for Shrek 5 when it comes to the new character or characters in that movie. The Shrek movie is also not a franchise that shies away from pop culture references. There are many Easter eggs, both subtle and not so subtle, scattered in throughout the series. This leads me to an idea that Shrek 5 could be a parody of Disney movies. The first movie did a few jokes towards that animation studio, but it might be fun to see a whole movie centered around that idea. It's worth noting that the official Shrek 5 announcement post by Dreamworks stated, "Not too far away, Shrek 5 is coming to theaters on July 1, 2026 with Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz." You may have noticed that Puss in Boots' voice, Antonio Banderas' name, was not included. Does this mean that Puss in Boots isn't returning? Maybe the movie takes place just before Puss in Boots The Last Wish, so the end of Shrek 5 could be Puss in Boots reuniting with the others. It could also mean that Antonio Banderas might not be interested in returning to voice the character, and they're gonna have Eric Bauza play the character like he did in the Adventures of Puss in Boots series. Personally, I would be shocked if Antonio doesn't return. I think what had happened was Eddie Murphy was out promoting his new Beverly Hills Cop movie and announced that he was working on the new Shrek film. So Dreamworks decided to make it official before having a chance to sign all the cast on. Remember, there's still 2 years until the movie is released. There's plenty of time for Antonio Banderas to join the cast or have Puss in Boots added to the script if he isn't already in it. Anyway, I'm going to assume that Puss in Boots will be in Shrek 5 in some capacity. So without further ado, here's my pitch for Shrek 5.
Great! Let's get started!
Shrek 5 should be a murder mystery. Basically, you set it immediately after Puss in Boots The Last Wish. Puss, Kitty, and Perrito arrive in Far Away for Artie's birthday. Shrek, Fiona, Donkey, and a whole bunch of other fairy tale creatures are there too. As Artie's opening his presents, he passes out. Merlin reveals that he's been poisoned. This sets off a whodunit mystery while Merlin takes Arthur to a hospital bed and tries to conjure up a healing potion. Everyone has their motives. Worcestershire Academy headmaster Lancelot is accused because Artie cut funding to the school. Snow White was in a relationship with Artie and they broke up on bad terms. Shrek and Fiona are suspects because their kids are attending a boarding school at Far Away. They're seen as wanting the throne to be closer to their kids. Basically, all that is known is that one of the presents poisoned Artie, either when he ate it, drank from it, or touched it. So we see different characters explain their series of events from the journey to get the present to eventually arriving in Far Away and giving it to Artie. We see the perspective of characters from Shrek and Fiona, Donkey and Dragon, Puss, Kitty and Perrito, and some other series of events told by some other notable fairy tale characters. Maybe each retelling is told in a different animation style like Spider-Verse. After all the stories have been told, there is no clear suspect. Suddenly, Merlin appears, saying that all hope is lost. The antidote needs one more ingredient, but he doesn't know where to find any. The item? Blue flowers with red thorns. But then Donkey pops up. Merlin and Donkey teleport to where Shrek got an arrow in his butt in the first movie and picked the flower before creating the antidote. Meanwhile, Shrek figures out that while everyone's stories crossed over, there was only one character who was in everyone's series of events. A character who each of the characters crossed paths with. That character's name is Morgan Le Fay, the half-sister of Arthur and someone who wants the throne. We learn that she wanted to tamper with Shrek and Fiona's gift, but circumstances made that impossible, so she had to try with everyone else. Some characters had already wrapped the present, so the poison couldn't be added, or themselves would be poisoned and unable to deliver the gift. Other situations made it too difficult to apply the poison without it looking suspicious. Morgan didn't want to poison Artie directly or it would prevent her from getting the throne. She needed Artie to die and Shrek and Fiona to take the fall so the kingdom wouldn't be suspicious before she was put into power. Morgan, who's at the party, tries to get past the fairy tale creatures to stop Artie from taking the antidote. The others try to stop her, but they're too late. She destroys the cure and Artie passes away. However, there's still two more beings standing in her way of the throne, Shrek and Fiona. Morgan uses her magic to attack the others, who are massively outpowered. Just as all hope seems to be lost, Shrek pulls the sword in the stone and slays the evil witch. Oh yeah, the sword in the stone needs to be foreshadowed earlier in the movie. It can be a tourist attraction at far, far away, and everyone is always trying to pull it from the rock. Then you also have a line saying something like, "Legend has it that the wielder of the sword in the stone can defeat any threat no matter how magically advanced they are." So Shrek and Fiona are now king and queen of Far, Far Away, a position Shrek has come to accept as he's matured ever since having kids. However, instead of staying inside the castle, they build a replica of their swamp on the edge of the kingdom and live there.
Oh, and it is lovely!
Remember the movie Hoodwinked? I've always wished that movie had a higher budget so the animation style would still hold up today. I'm not trying to take anything away from the animators who worked on that movie, but the limitations of 2005 technology and with a budget of only $8 million dues means it doesn't really hold up 20 years later, which is why it doesn't get spoken enough about. I would actually love it if the movie was remade exactly the same way, just with modern technology, a remastered version of the film like they do with games sometimes. Anyway, Hoodwinked is fantastic and the inspiration for my version of Shrek 5. Basically, Shrek 5 would be, what if Hoodwinked, but in the Shrek universe? Anyway, let me know what time you want me to come in, Dreamworks, so we can discuss this further.
I call you!
Hey, you want to hear some facts about the Shrek franchise?
Of course!
Here are some fun facts about the Shrek franchise. When asked about his thoughts on the movie of Shrek, the book's author, William Steig, was quoted as saying, "It's vulgar, it's disgusting, and I love it." The movie also led to a massive spike in book sales.
Now go get my checkbook! Go!
The first Shrek movie was the first ever winner of the Best Animated Feature at the Academy Awards, while Shrek 2 was the first ever sequel to be nominated for a Best Animated Feature.
You've won the honor of embarking on a great and noble quest.
Steven Spielberg was actually the one who bought the rights to the Shrek book. He had plans to adapt it into a 2D animation with Bill Murray as Shrek and Steve Martin voicing Donkey. However, Spielberg later sold the rights to the studio he co-founded, Dreamworks. For Shrek 2, Antonio Banderas provided the voice of Puss in Boots in the English, Spanish, and Latin American versions of the movie. He did this for Shrek the Third as well, but also recorded the Italian version too.
Hey tú, pedazo de carne con patas, ¿cómo te atreves a hacerme esto?
Dragon was originally going to have a major role in Shrek 2, turning into a Pegasus when Donkey drank the potion. The filmmakers confirmed that this still happened, albeit off-screen. I guess the reason we didn't see it was because the voice actor of No One wasn't offered enough money to return.
Shrek and I took some magic potion, and well, now we're sexy!
When Mongo was hit by the flaming catapult ball, his roar is the same as the original Japanese Godzilla. Shrek 2 was dedicated to William Steig, the writer of the original book, who died before the sequel was released.
Ogres are like onions! End of story!
Jennifer Saunders performed all her singing in Shrek 2, which is uncommon. Usually a singer would come in and provide vocals whenever there's a song, something Disney has done many times with their animated movies. Jennifer had a voice coach to help improve her vocals, and it totally worked because her song is one of the best parts of that movie.
C minor, put it in C minor.
Dreamworks was so confident that the first Shrek movie would be a success that they started working on the sequel before the original was even released. Wow. In the same year that Spider-Man 2, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and The Incredibles were all released, Shrek 2 was the one that topped all of them, winning the box office of 2004.
Anyone has turned out to honor Princess Fiona and Prince Shrek.
Eric Idle claimed that Shrek the Third ripped off Monty Python and the Holy Grail, stealing their joke of coconuts being used as sound effects for horse hooves. However, this idea has been around since the days of radio, so no plagiarism claim could be made. When Queen Lillian knocks down the prison walls with her head, in a dazed state she sings My Favourite Things and A Spoonful of Sugar, two songs that the voice actor Julie Andrews had performed in The Sound of Music and Mary Poppins. Shrek the Third is the only movie in the franchise where Shrek and Fiona don't share true love's kiss to solve a problem. It's also the only movie in the series not to have a storybook opening.
I will restore dignity to my throne.
Rumpelstiltskin is in Shrek the Third, but looks and sounds completely different in Shrek Forever After, where he plays the main villain.
Me?
The flute solos played by the Pied Piper in Shrek Forever After were performed by Jeremy Steig, who's not only a well-known jazz flutist, but also the son of the Shrek book author, William Steig. Shrek Forever After director Mike Mitchell stated that Brogan was originally supposed to be Prince Charming with the same curse as Fiona.
Fate has delivered us a comrade in arms, and for that we are thankful.
Lord Farquaad voice actor John Lithgow announced that his character was set to return in the alternate world of Shrek Forever After, but the idea was ultimately scrapped.
But it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Chris Farley was originally cast as Shrek and even recorded almost all the dialogue before he passed away.
People see me and they go, "Ah! Help! A big, stupid, stinky, smelly, ugly ogre!"
When Mike Myers came in to replace Chris, he ended up recording the entire movie twice. The first was with his natural speaking voice, but after watching it back, felt like it didn't work, so he re-recorded all his lines with a Scottish accent. This was based on the voice his mother used when reading stories to him as a kid.
Do you think maybe he's compensating for something?
Before even Chris Farley or Mike Myers were cast, Nicolas Cage was offered the role of Shrek, but turned it down because he didn't want to look like an ugly ogre. Cage has since admitted to regretting this decision.
No, not the beast! Not the beast!
The character of Puss in Boots alludes heavily to the Mask of Zorro, two characters played by Antonio Banderas. Shrek is one of only 19 fictional characters that have their own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The others include Alvin and the Chipmunks, Big Bird, Bugs Bunny, Donald Duck, Kermit the Frog, Godzilla, Pee Wee Herman, Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, the Munchkins, the Muppets, Winnie the Pooh, Rugrats, the Simpsons, Snoopy, Snow White, Tinkerbell, and Woody Woodpecker.
Cool.
Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to absolutely obliterate that like, subscribe and share button. I'm just kidding, only do it with enough force that it registers. I don't want any of you breaking whatever device you're watching this on. Anyway, let me know in the comments what your favourite Shrek movie is, and what movie I should pitch next.